Okay. What's up, y'all? My name is Stacy Liz, and I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl who is very passionate about leaving your baggage at the door and healing and growing and becoming your best self. So I started these bad chats, baggage at the door, and welcome to episode 1. Two quick disclaimers at the end of the day. I don't know what really happened in their relationship. Nobody does, only them two, and God knows what happens behind closed doors. I'm simply here to speculate. I'm not here to pick on them. I'm here to grow from them. Okay. And number two, if you are somebody who needs perfect videos with perfect makeup, then we might not be the best fit. But if you like genuine chatting and dissecting things together, then we will be great fits. So if that's you, come on through the door. Let's talk. Me and my comfy Target pajamas and my pimple are more than happy to have you. Okay, let's talk about Tyler and Ashley. So by now you've probably seen the People magazine exclusive that details that Ashley and Tyler are no longer together. They are separated. In the article, it is Ashley talking about the separation. I have some clips that I'm going to play, y'all. We're going to jump right in. Let me turn this volume up.
31. How do you feel about that?
Age is nothing but a number for
That
me.
is a fact. It is hard in your 30s. We're fucking through the clearance rack trying to find a man, find like a hidden gem back on the back floor.
Pause. Okay, let's talk about this clearance rack thing. It is true, that dating could get more difficult the older we get. However, it is very dangerous to refer to dating as, a clearance rack. And you might be joking around when you say that, but guys, words have power. All right. People always say there's pee in the dating pool. And I personally, I stay away from comments like that. I always have, because the truth is, I'm not concerned about the dating pool. I'm not trying to date an entire swim team. I just need my one. Therefore, who cares about the pool? You know what I mean? I feel like if you say there's pee in the dating pool, then that's exactly what you will get. Why create a negative thought around it when you could be positive about it instead? We all are familiar with the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So, and the truth is, if you truly believe that there's pee in the dating pool and that there are, no good men left, that whole thing, then you're probably presenting that in one form or fashion in the way that you date. So if you believe that, of course, it's going to show up somewhere in your dating experience. I heard this story several years ago about a woman who got a picture frame. You guys know those picture frames with the wedding picture in it? Well, she put that picture frame on her living room table. And so every time she walked by that picture, she started thanking God for her future husband. And I thought that that was so powerful because she chose the positivity instead of believing that things were scarce and believing that, dating was a clearance rack. Who wants to, shop from a clearance rack? Although sometimes those clearance racks be having, sorry. Yes. So I thought that was so powerful. And yes, she did end up finding the man of her dreams and getting married and, being happy in a marriage. But I like the fact that she actively waited. So, while you're waiting for the one, what can you work on? What can you improve? Are there areas in your life that you need to heal? Are there skills that you can learn? Do you know how to sew? Do you know how to, cook a few recipes? Do you know how to keep a cleaning schedule? Do you know how to whatever it is, not trying to be specific in roles, but whatever it is there something that you can be waiting on, working on while you're waiting? And hopefully you're waiting with hope. Let's look at the next clip.
Like sweating still shocks me on why I'm single. Definitely isn't from lack of trying or from lack of interest. I've always been the person that wanted to get married, especially because my mom and dad got divorced when I was 6, and then she remarried after that, and that one didn't work as well. I just remember looking at her when I was younger and being like, "Don't worry, mommy. One day we're gonna have a daddy like the guys in the movies. I will be the one to get married and to stay married." Who do I have?
All right. Let me get my notes because that's a lot to unpack. Woo. Okay. So Ashley tells us that she's always dreamed of getting married. It's okay to want marriage. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be married. That's normal. But I would ask yourself, why do I want to get married? Do I want to get married because that's going to make me happy? Do I want to get married because I'm lonely? Do I want to get married, because that is what is going to make me feel whole and successful? I want you to really be deep and honest with yourself to figure out what is your why. You know, it's true that marriage offers companionship, friendship, support, love, family. You have someone there with you on the journey when it's hard and when it's good. Someone to call on a Friday night when you get off work. All those things are great. But marriage is work at the end of the day. And it's definitely not a walk in the park. We've all been lied to, that, the Disney fairy tale. And Ashley mentioned that, Mom, one day we're going to have, I'm going to have the husband like the man in the movies. This is dangerous because marriage is not a fairy tale. Marriage is not some magical, as soon as you say I do, you're gonna finally be happy and finally feel fulfilled. No, if you don't already have that within you, then it's not going to just magically come alive when you're married. You need to be happy single. You need to be whole single. You need to be healed single. Don't expect someone to come in and save you. You need to save yourself. Okay. Otherwise, all you're doing is dumping all of that mess onto your partner, and you're really giving them unrealistic expectations because you're putting the burden on your partner to make you feel whole, to make you feel happy, to make you, it's it's not healthy to have the expectation that you get married and it'll be like the movies. The movies are a lie. But when you think about why you want to get married, know what you're signing up for. You're literally signing up for a life of sacrifice. You're signing up to put your spouse before you, because that is what we are called to do. It's no longer just you and what you want to do, when you want to do it, and how you want to do it. You have to think about a whole nother human being. And if you guys have a family, now you have to think about a whole family, So all of this fairy tale stuff, you guys, can we stop with that? It is 2025. Marriage is not going to magically make you happy. Let's stop with that lie. In fact, marriage is a tool that God uses for sanctification. Okay. He uses marriage to make people more holy. That means you got to go through some stuff in your marriage to work on your character, to build who you are so that you look more like Christ. Does that sound like easy work? No, it's not easy work. It's not easy work at all. Now, I'm not saying that marriage makes you, miserable and it's designed to make you miserable. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that anybody who's married will tell you that marriage is like a mirror, and your spouse is shining a mirror to you and reminding you who you are. And they're not doing it on purpose, it just naturally happens. They're reminding you of where you fall short and where you need God's grace and where you need to improve. And you can't run from them. So you're forced to look in the mirror and deal with those things. And the reality hits a lot of people like, I'm not perfect. I have so many things that I need to work on. So there's a reason why Paul said, look, if you can stay single, stay single. The other part to that clip where she says, don't worry, mom, I'm going to get married and I'm going to be the one that stays married in our family. I know so many of us can relate to that. A lot of us do not come from homes where we saw our parents married, you know? And so a lot of times there is a desire to break the curse and finally be the one. But let me tell you, don't put so much pressure on yourself because that's exactly what Ashley did. And it's dangerous. It is very dangerous to do that. And she specifically talks about taking this on as a child, right? Because she saw, the failed relationships as a child, she naturally took it on to become a savior, right? She saw her mother's pain and she wanted to be there to save her mother, So this is where she learned to be the savior. This is where she learned to carry other people's burdens so well. Somebody, you see where I'm getting at? She actually took the role as the parent, and it sounds like, I don't know her mom, but it sounds like her mother took the role as a child. And there's a word for this. It's called parentification. And it's when the roles are reversed. And it happens a lot when children witness their parents going through hard times, whether it be emotionally or physically. Naturally, as a child, you don't want to see your parents hurting. You want to be able to make them feel better, but it's dangerous to the child because it teaches them that they have to be there for you, and it teaches them to reverse the roles. It's dangerous because the child ends up feeling a level of responsibility that the child is not ready for. So please keep this in mind as a parent. I'm a mom and I've been through a divorce. So the thing is, it's not that we pretend that we're always happy with our children because that's also unhealthy. But you want to be careful that you're not dumping your emotions and um, dumping your burdens on a child because it will in turn mess them up. As I mentioned, in parentification, the child plays the role as the adult, and the adult begins to rely on the children for emotional support, even decision making, and sometimes even just their entire well being. So, as a parent, it is very important that you pay attention to if you're dumping too much on your child. Remember, a child is a child is a child is a child, and a child should be doing childlike things. A child should not be taking care of you. We don't want to create these cycles for our children that make it very unhealthy for them when they get our age. When Ashley saw her mom in pain and she saw her mom's heartbreak and she saw how their life was completely changed, not once, but twice. In that moment, Ashley put on a cape. And as an adult, she's still wearing that cape. So let's talk about the impact of a child dealing with that role reversal when they're younger. Let's talk about how they show up as an adult in relationships. Very common for them to show up as the caretaker. You get the badge for being the best nurturer in the world. You are the person that shows up for everyone except for you. You nurture everyone else, but you neglect your own needs. Also becomes difficult for them to receive support when they get older because they're just simply not accustomed to it. They didn't receive support as a child, they are the supporter. So when someone else tries to support the supporter, it becomes foreign, right? I'm sure you guys have seen this or witnessed people who literally cannot take help. Someone tries to do something as simple as carrying their bag, and their first words is what? I got it. You don't have to do that. You don't have to thank me. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. Why? Because they never got it. They never got the support growing up. They were the supporter. Anyone's watching this and I'm stepping on your toes right now, I'm sorry, but just practice saying thank you. Say it with me. Thank you. If someone wants to do something for you, let them, especially if it's your man, sis. Let him for sure. Thank you, baby. As an adult, it also becomes difficult for them to set and maintain healthy boundaries. The first boundaries they were introduced to were just all over the place, right? So they don't know what it is to set a boundary. They might feel like they're hurting someone's feelings if they set a boundary. So what do instead? They accept and allow anything. They have problems saying no. No is like a curse word to them because if they say no, then, oh my gosh, I don't want to make that person feel bad, or, I don't want to um, do anything that is going to make this person hurt worse. Since I'm accustomed to playing an improper role, I'm just going to be silent and not have boundaries and not say no and just take whatever you give me. Once again, prioritizing their partner's needs before theirs. It's also very common for them to grow up and attract very needy, dependent partners. Why? Because this is what was mirrored to them as a child. They had to play a role. Their parents needed them, so they had to be there, right? And so you subconsciously find someone who needs you because you're used to wearing the cape. You are used to playing the I'll save you role. So naturally, the person who needs to be saved runs straight to you. End up choosing someone that requires constant attention and constant care because this mirrors your childhood experiences. It feels like home. But friends, let me tell you, if home wasn't healthy, you do not want a relationship that feels like home. You want a relationship that feels foreign. Lastly, and most obvious, that person ends up showing up as the parent in their adult relationships, right? They're always guiding, they're always taking care of, they're always nurturing and showing up for, all the while not taking care of themselves. Perhaps this is why Ashley showed up to all of those interviews, right? Because maybe she felt like she had to be the parent figure, the one fixing the situation, the one at the forefront, because I can handle it. I can put on my cape. I can get on these interviews and I can defend you and protect you because that's what I do. I am the savior. I am the protector. I have on my cape and I can do this because this is what I had to do as a child. Okay. Okay. Let me wipe my camera off and play this next clip for y'all. Now we're going to look at a few clips where Tyler is doing the majority of the speaking. And I should probably insert some comment about fair use. So shout out to Netflix. Don't flag me.
I wrote something. Okay. Dear God, thank you for allowing us this food and be healthy enough to eat it. Thank you for waking us up today, allowing us to see each other right now. Thank you for bringing us together in this very unique experience. I thank you, God, for the blessing with someone who is such a soft and kind spirit. I thank you for allowing me to feel so safe with Ashley. I ask that you watch over us as we continue to grow.
I want to hit on that so safe because he says, you make me feel so safe. I feel so safe when I'm with you. Wow, I've never felt so safe. He says this so much, right? And so if you are in a situation where someone keeps saying the same thing over and over, pay attention to that because they are telling you something. Whether you receive the message or not, or whether you get the hint or not, they are telling you something. So my question would be, what do you feel unsafe about? And why didn't you feel safe before? What's the deeper underlining thing there? What do you need to be safe from? I would put a mental note in my head and be like, okay, I need to pay attention to this because he's repeating this over and over, so it must be important. And thank you for showing me what love can truly feel like. Say thank you. It's in your precious name I pray. Amen. So sweet. Oh my God. There's no right. So the part where he says, thank you for showing me what love can truly feel like, that's not a huge red flag, but pay attention to that as well, because why have you not experienced love before? And if you haven't, what might I have to deal with due to the fact that you've never experienced love? So just be aware of, these little comments. Let's look at another clip.
Gotten me through so many different things that I've never really had someone that I could pray with. I never experienced this feeling ever. Before I got here, I never needed to feel safe. And then after being here with you, I'm I feel safe that I can talk to you, express my past, and not feel judged. That we can
Did y'all hear that? I feel safe with you. You're such a kind spirit. You're such a kind woman. You won't judge me. I feel like I can tell you about my past and you won't judge me because you're so sweet and you're such a kind woman and I feel so safe with you. Do y'all get what I'm getting at? He's telling her. He is telling Ashley so much with so little, right? But it's so easy to miss some of these flags. But again, pay attention. When people are constantly repeating the same thing, there's something more underneath there. And what he's doing is he's trying to ease her into it, right? It's a form of manipulation because I'm telling you, I'm almost love bombing you and telling you how kind and sweet you are. That way, when I do tell you about my past, you don't judge me. You don't judge me because you're kind and you don't do that. You make me feel safe. Sorry. You make me feel safe. So he's setting her up for the failure that he knows he's about to bring. And that's just not right. Okay, listen to this.
I want you to know you're safe and you're protected.
Did you hear that? He said, I really love you. I want you to know that you're safe and you're protected. Not only is he playing on her heartstrings, because a man knows where you're not whole. They can smell it. They can smell it. And unfortunately, a lot of them prey on that, right? So if I know that you have a need to feel safe and I'm a man that's not operating in my full potential, I'm going to use that. I'm going to love bomb you and I'm going to tell you this over and over again, right? So he's playing on her heartstrings. And then the other thing is, he's trying to guarantee her a judgment-free zone and safety so that he has it for himself, because really and truly, he's the one who needs it. Okay, guys, there's too much music in this next clip, so you get to hear my Tyler voice. No matter what happens here, let me get deeper. I'm going to always have you. I got your back for life. Ladies and gentlemen, all those nice, mushy words are beautiful. But what's more important is if the actions speak louder. If the words don't line up with what your partner is doing, then all of that mushiness means absolutely nothing. There needs to be some weight to the words. I want to include the clip where Tyler and Ashley are discussing Tyler's childhood. I think we can learn a good amount from this clip.
I just remember even like being at the funeral. I didn't know how to console my mom. Yeah. I was so young, and they're like, "Go hug your mom," but I didn't know what it meant to her. You know, yeah. For someone to be there.
He didn't know how to console his mom as a young boy, even at the funeral of his grandmother. I remember I wouldn't even tell my mom I love you, like nothing, and she would just go through this entire struggle by herself, and her dad had already shunned her out. And now she lost her mom, and now she's just raising us. She would cry like random nights, and we would just lay there hearing her cry. Tyler is understandably emotional when he talks about those things, but I wanted to play the clips because I caught on to something as I watched those clips. Tyler is no stranger to pain. So, like Ashley, he also had to deal with some very heavy things as a child. I don't think I played this clip, but he talks about how his mother was disowned because of her mixed race relationship, right? So he's had to deal with these heavy things as a child, and he mentions something interesting. He mentions that other people told him at the funeral to go hug your mother. And he didn't know how to say, I love you. He didn't know how to console her. And then he mentioned that as a child, his mother was constantly crying, and he would be in bed hearing her cry. So, again, not really doing anything to show up for her and comfort her. Even though as a child it was not his responsibility to show up for his mother, but I think this is where it started. I think that Tyler's way of dealing with things is to detach. I think that when things get hard, he detaches himself from the situation. You know, the mother of his children does allege that Tyler just basically woke up one day and abandoned them. That is also detaching. So I think that at an early age, Tyler developed a coping mechanism to deal with all of the hurt and pain he felt as a child. And unfortunately, I think he detaches and he runs. The other layer of that is because he's able to detach, I think he also detaches the other person's emotions. So he doesn't fully deal with not only his emotions, but he doesn't take in the emotions of other people. Because if he acknowledges that my mom is hurting, then that means he has to show up and be there for her. If he acknowledges that I'm lying to my fiance about the fact that I have children, if he attaches, then he actually has to show up and take responsibility for those harder things in life. So I feel like we've seen Tyler not show up as a father, to just completely detach, and not show up and detach as a husband as well.
Like I told myself when I was young that I'm gonna be married, I'm gonna be happy, and I'm gonna create a big family. I've wanted that so bad, and I've seen what it's like to not have it. But like I want my grandkids or my kids will all want to come over like on holidays, like, yeah, like Tyler's cooking and like I get to spend time with you. That's why I think I'm here.
It's so interesting that we as humans, we can long for something so bad. We can long for a family, we can long for love, we can long to pretty much correct the childhood that we had. But, friends, there's no way that we can do that without healing first. If we don't heal first, we are just going to make a mess of what we say we want. Because the truth is, Tyler had the opportunity to show up and have those big family dinners and holidays and traditions that he told us he wanted. But I feel that because of his hurt and his unhealed trauma, instead of showing up, he ran away. Creating a family, having children, getting married is not going to magically fix or erase the childhood that you had. I'm not sure what Tyler's true intentions were. Maybe he was desperately seeking love. I know that there are allegations that he went on the show for money, and I don't want to, there's enough videos on that. But one thing I am pretty certain of, from my limited point of view, is that Ashley showed up with her cape. Ashley showed up with her cape, and Tyler presented himself as showing up longing for love. Tyler dumped so much baggage onto Ashley. The deceit, the lies, the not coming forward with the fact that he was a father as quickly as he should, the social media backlash, because at the end of the day, if Tyler had not done that, Ashley would not have had to deal with so much social media backlash. She wouldn't be in the situation um, had it not been for Tyler's baggage. Had to hop back on and clarify that while it was easier for us to see Tyler's baggage because it was spilled out all over the internet, it also is important for us to reflect on the fact that there had to be a level of baggage on Ashley's part in order for her to accept it, allow it, stick with it, commit to it and defend it. So, you know, I don't want to make it seem like this is only about Tyler. And Ashley wanted to carry that baggage. Just like as a little girl, she wanted to be able to carry her mother's baggage, her father's baggage. She tried and she tried and she tried to carry it, but it got too heavy for her. She finally got to the point where she had to set boundaries, where she realized that boundaries were not healthy and they were being crossed. And so she got to the point of, I cannot take this. And she spoke up for herself. She took action and she did something about it. Reenacting trauma is when we subconsciously seek out relationships that mirror the trauma of our past. Here are a few ways that we can grow in that area. The first thing we can do is identify patterns. Work on being self aware. This will require you to be honest with yourself. Now, a lot of people avoid this because they know that deep down there's a mess inside of there. So instead of actually going down deep to truly ask yourself those difficult questions, you just leave it alone. But if we want to heal, you absolutely have to pay attention to the patterns that so commonly trip you up. You can do this by journaling. Journaling is great because when you're writing and you revisit that page years from now, you are able to identify, oh my gosh, I'm still doing this. I did this when I was younger in my teenage relationships, and now I'm doing it as an adult. So that's going to trigger something in you to work on that. Speaking of triggers, Come to the point where you can recognize your own triggers. Don't ignore the warning signs. Try to catch the warning signs earlier when it happens. Don't sweep it under the rug. Catch it sooner. Maybe a win for you is not staying in a relationship that is unhealthy for a year, but only staying for a month. So work on identifying those triggers early so you're not in a toxic situation for longer than you need to be. If you see that sign, then pay attention to it. Now, this does not mean sprint at the faintest chance of a red flag, but it does mean pay attention to the areas that you are weak in and identify them sooner. And I will always, always, always recommend therapy. Get you a good therapist. Take your time to find one that is the right match for you. I personally found a life coach after my divorce, and it was the best thing that I could ever do. A therapist or a life coach is going to help you reset and fix those patterns in your brain that cause you to look for repeated trauma and familiar trauma. I want to try something different. I've never seen this done on a YouTube channel, but I actually wrote a letter to Ashley, and 10 times out of 10, she will never hear this letter. However, a lot of people can relate. And so, although this letter is written to Ashley, if you hear this letter and you can relate to it, then I'm writing it to you as well. Dear Ashley, it's okay to not be okay right now. Allow yourself to feel the full spectrum of emotions: the anger, the sadness, the confusion, the guilt, even the intense conversations that you're probably having with God centered around why He didn't save you from this. Soon you will see that God never left you. And yes, He will use even this situation for His glory. Remember that you are not alone in this. Many women have experienced heartbreak and divorce, including myself. You aren't the first woman, and you won't be the last. Walk with your head up. Your life was public, but it does not have to continue to be. It's easier to heal off of the internet. As you work to get to the other side of healing, I want you to know that trouble doesn't last always. You have the strength within you to heal and rebuild your life with the help of God. Focus on taking care of yourself. Surround yourself with love and support from genuine friends and family. Indulge in activities that bring you joy and peace. Don't hesitate to seek professional help from a therapist or a life coach. Healing takes time. Be patient with yourself. There will be good days and bad days. Celebrate the good days and be gentle with yourself. Find comfort in the promise of God's enduring love. He heals the brokenhearted and He bonds up their wounds. Psalms 147:3. Sending you strength, love, and support. Stacy Liz, a stranger. Did I mention that this was my first episode, you guys? How did I do? Hopefully, you're not too hard on me. But yes, this was my first bad chat. Baggage at the door. I hope you enjoyed this chit chat. I hope you felt like you were here with me. That was my goal in this video, for us to just chat together. And the chat doesn't have to stop. Um, it will continue in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts and perspectives too. So comment down below, like this video, and subscribe to my channel if you liked what you heard. Hopefully I see you again. My name is Stacy Liz with Baggage at the Door. Bye-bye. Oh, I need some water. How y'all be talking this long? Hold on. Let me go get some water. I'll be right back. Okay.